Barbara, Stanwyck, and Robert Taylor were Hollywood's golden couple, admired for their talent and devotion. But behind the scenes, their love story took a shocking turn. An affair didn't just end their marriage, it shattered hearts and changed their lives forever, even leaving Barbara wealthier than ever. How did such a perfect union crumble? And what came next for the iconic actress? Stay tuned to uncover the gripping details. When Barbara Stanwyck and Robert Taylor met, a new Hollywood power couple was born. Barbara Stanwyck was wary when her friends Zeppo Marx and his wife Marion wanted to set her up on a blind date in 1936. Having just gotten out of a traumatic marriage, she was content living with her adopted son, Tony, on her ranch. Still, she decided to go. The sparks that flew during their initial encounter would soon be fanned by their collaboration on the film His Brother's Wife. There, she met the handsome Robert Taylor. He was 4 years younger than her and Studio MGM's latest asset. He had barely begun in Hollywood, while Barbara was already a star in movies like Night Nurse and Babyface. But they turned out to have a lot in common. They loved the outdoors, hated pretentiousness, and were both politically conservative. The pair became friends, and this friendship quickly turned into a comfortable romance. Robert even bought a ranch adjacent to Barbara's. Barbara mentored Robert in his burgeoning Hollywood career. The actor was known as the man with the perfect profile, and Barbara helped him bring more depth to his career. He looked up to her and trusted her guidance. At the same time, he was an old-fashioned gentleman who knew how to treat a woman well. This was something Barbara longed for after her abusive marriage. They both craved stability and a life without pretense outside of Tinseltown, and found that in each other. Barbara and Robert would have been perfectly happy keeping their relationship as it was, living in their adjoining ranches. But in 1939, Photoplay magazine ran an article titled Hollywood's Unmarried Husbands and Wives, about Hollywood couples who were basically living as a married couple without an actual marriage license. This would not matter today, but in 1939, this was not proper behavior. So their studio, MGM, arranged a wedding for the pair, which they reluctantly agreed to. Robert took marriage very seriously, and Barbara was wary of marriage after her disastrous first try. Still, they decided to go for it and put in a serious effort to make it work. Barbara and Robert shared a deep passion for their careers and wholeheartedly supported each other in achieving growth and success. Barbara Stanwyck, originally born Ruby Stevens, transitioned from Broadway to Hollywood in the late 1920s, marking the beginning of her illustrious career in film. After making her Broadway debut in 1926 as a cabaret dancer in The Noose, Stanwyck quickly caught the eye of industry critics. Her early experiences as a chorus girl equipped her with the skills necessary for the competitive world of entertainment. In 1927, she made her film debut in Broadway Nights, but it wasn't until she convinced famed director Frank Capra to cast her in Ladies of Leisure that her career truly took off, highlighting her unique talent and strong persona. Stanwyck's breakout role in Ladies of Leisure showcased her ability to portray complex, independent women, setting the stage for a series of landmark performances throughout the 1930s and beyond. She signed a contract with Columbia Pictures and starred in a string of successful films, including Illicit and Night Nurse. These early roles solidified her reputation as a powerful actress who could embody characters with depth and integrity. With her unfaltering dedication to her craft, Stanwyck established herself as one of the leading actresses of her time, paving the way for future generations of women in film. Barbara Stanwyck, a titan of both film and television, gradually transitioned to the small screen as her film career evolved. After making her television debut on the Jack Benny program in the early 1950s, Stanwyck quickly found new footing in this burgeoning medium. She starred in a series of dramatic productions, including Goodyear Theatre and Zane Grey Theatre, showcasing her versatility and ability to captivate audiences in a variety of roles. One of her most significant television roles came with the hit series The Big Valley, which aired from 1965 to 69. In this Western drama, Stanwyck portrayed Victoria Barclay, the matriarch of a wealthy ranching family. Her performance earned her critical acclaim and solidified her place in television history. Robert Taylor's ascendancy in Hollywood was marked by a contract with a major studio, his growing status as a box office draw, his memorable film debuts, and his portrayal of romantic lead roles. In 1934, Taylor signed with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, a decision that proved pivotal in launching his career in cinema. Taylor's portrayal of gallant figures in historical settings often left an indelible mark on the genre. He captivated audiences in Ivanhoe, an adaptation of Sir Walter Scott's novel, where he played the noble knight Sir Wilfrid of Ivanhoe. Another notable contribution was Quo Vadis, where he starred as the Roman soldier Marcus Vinicius and delivered a memorable performance opposite Deborah Kerr and Peter Ustinov. Taylor's versatility was evident in his roles in war and action films. He was featured in Bataan as Sergeant Bill Dane, leading a diverse cast in a harrowing tale of soldiers during the Second World War. His performance in The Last Hunt further demonstrated his affinity for action-packed roles and his ability to carry a film through intense physical and dramatic sequences. In the 1950s, as the golden age of Hollywood cinema began to wane, Robert Taylor embraced television, a medium that was gaining popularity among American audiences. Robert Taylor also appeared in various anthology series throughout his television career. Among these were stints on shows like Death Valley Days, in which he both acted in and hosted several episodes, showcasing his versatility as a performer. Barbara and Robert were adored as a couple, their shared passion serving as an inspiration to many. Yet no one could have predicted that an affair would shatter their marriage, a twist even they didn't see coming. Barbara was still one of Hollywood's biggest stars, and she was now joined by her husband. The press loved this new power couple, and they knew how to use this to their advantage. Although this helped their careers, it changed the dynamics of their relationship. As Robert's career gained momentum, he didn't need Barbara's help as much as before. His growing independence frustrated her, and she would berate him and criticize him at parties and in front of friends. In 1941, Robert had an affair with his Johnny Eager co-star, Lana Turner. Rumor has it that Barbara was so upset that she tried to commit suicide. In 1943, Robert joined the Navy for the war effort. The pair did not see much of each other during this time, though they were avid letter writers. Their time apart only exacerbated their problems. When Robert came back, Barbara wanted all of his time and attention, while he wanted to fly his plane and go fishing or hunting with his friends. Robert had always hated confrontation and would walk away from these arguments. He did not need a mentor anymore, while Barbara desperately wanted him around. He was known to have affairs at this time, and Barbara started to look for intimacy elsewhere as well. Robert supposedly asked for a divorce multiple times, but she would become so upset that he backtracked. In 1949, Robert started shooting Quo Vadis in Italy. Here, he had a very public affair with Italian starlet Leah D. Leo. Enraged, Barbara flew over to confront him and ask for a divorce. It is said that she did it as a threat and was shocked when he agreed. This is widely thought to have been a ruse to hold on to him rather than an actual desire to separate. In any case, to her horror, he accepted. Stanwyck stayed in Italy for 6 weeks, during which they apparently negotiated their future. On February 21st, 1951, Barbara Stanwyck divorced Robert Taylor. The divorce became final a year later. As part of the settlement, she was granted 15% of his gross earnings until she remarried or died. No one expected him to die first. The two remained friends despite everything, and Stanwyck never remarried. She did collect her money religiously, and by some reports, tried to get more from Taylor's estate. Despite this, she always claimed that he was her one true love. Eventually, she had to accept that their marriage had long been over. She stayed in Italy for 6 weeks to negotiate the divorce terms with Robert. Their divorce became final in 1951, after 12 years of marriage. Barbara was first wed to Frank Fay between 1928 and 1935, before marrying her second husband, Robert Taylor, from 1939 until their divorce in 1952. While both unions ended in heartbreaking fashion, when reflecting on her relationship with Taylor in 1981 with the New York Times, Stanwyck was philosophical. She said, "Losing somebody you love by death or divorce is hard. If they decide they want to be free, there's nothing to battle for. You have to let go." The divorce was deeply traumatic for Barbara Stanwyck, and her words reflected the immense pain she was enduring. What she went through afterwards was truly heartbreaking. Bitterness and bewilderment. These were the emotions that keynote Barbara Stanwyck's life in the months following her divorce from Robert Taylor. But she had wiped out the bitterness, and after looking back, she came to understand. "At first, I could think only me, my hurt, my ego, my problem," she said. "But gradually, I came to realize that I was by no means unique." Though she became Hollywood's highest-paid actress in classic films such as Stella Dallas, The Lady Eve, and Double Indemnity, Barbara, nicknamed the Queen for her imperious manner, endured much heartache, often at the hands of the men she loved. Abandoned by her father as a child, she withstood an abusive first marriage before finding a better life with Robert. The end of their union after 12 years broke her heart, but proved that the star of TV's The Big Valley would always be a survivor. Barbara was incredibly upset over their divorce. Nonetheless, the pair remained friendly after going their separate ways. It is even said that they were still intimate. This changed when Robert married Ursula Thies in 1954. Ursula and Robert would go on to have 2 children, and remained together until his death. But Robert always spoke fondly of his ex-wife, Barbara, later saying, "I respect her deeply and treasure her friendship." Over the years, they spoke to each other less and less. But in 1964, Barbara and Robert starred together in The Night Walker, which they both thoroughly enjoyed. Their bond was so strong that when Robert became ill with lung cancer and was deteriorating, his wife invited Barbara over to the hospital. When Robert passed away, Barbara was heartbroken. The funeral of veteran actor Robert Taylor, who died from lung cancer at 57 in 1969, was held at the Forest Lawn Church of the Recessional in Glendale, California. Governor Ronald Reagan, a longtime friend of the actor, gave the eulogy. Screen legend Barbara Stanwyck, who had been Robert's first wife, wore a yellow suit and shed tears. A lifelong workaholic, she took some time off to grieve. As part of their divorce settlement, she collected royalties from his estate until her death. Robert would never be far from her mind. During their marriage, the two had placed their hand and footprints in cement in front of Grauman's Theatre on the Walk of Fame. Years after Robert's death, the theatre offered Barbara a chance to replace it with a new one, since the old one had cracked. She refused because Robert wasn't alive to join her, and his hand and footprints would be lost. She would never remarry and privately referred to Robert as the love of her life. She confided in 1981, "Bob and I didn't stay friends. We became friends again. Time does take care of things." Writing in his 2012 book, Barbara Stanwyck, The Miracle Woman, author Dan Callahan noted how the legend's meeting with Taylor was a great relief to her. He wrote, "He was a little younger than her and very, very beautiful." Though Stanwyck remained infatuated with Taylor, in 2008, actor Robert Wagner revealed how he fell in love with the actress, and the pair had a romance. For one thing, she admitted in retrospect that she may have been too career-minded, too concerned about maintaining her status as one of Hollywood's most successful actresses, and not concerned nearly enough with being a truly successful wife. She never took her marriage for granted. No woman married to Robert Taylor could ever do that. But she didn't work at it quite conscientiously enough. While she was busily building an admirable reputation for diligence at the studios, Robert was filling the gaps in his life with interests of his own. It was almost a year since Taylor had agreed to disagree that Barbara actually went ahead with the suit for divorce. In the meantime, Taylor had gone to England for Ivanhoe, giving them time to think things over. When Taylor came back, the reconciliation rumors went into full swing. And the only truth in any of them is that they didn't behave like friends. Barbara would have given another try at that point, but Taylor didn't feel they could achieve anything except a temporary repatching, and neither of them wanted that. Hurt as she was, Barbara knew that the only salvation lay in trying to build a new life as quickly as possible. She began selling the house in which she and Robert had shared 11 years of happiness. "I believe the wisest decision a woman facing divorce can make is to separate herself from the tangibles of her marriage. It's good sense to start clean." She also said, "Probably all about-to-be divorced women have experienced this. And even though it was my decision, the day our things went to the auctioneers was certainly brutal for me. I know it sounds trite, but it's true. A little bit of my heart went along every piece that was sold." That was the lowest point in Barbara's life, the moment when the bitterness was vividly etched. "I moved into a new little house. Hold in is a better phrase, like automation. I never answered my phone. I accepted no invitation." Her dearest friends were upset and alarmed. But Barbara wouldn't allow them to break through her emotional coat of armor until a time she said, "When I couldn't defend myself." Her friends eventually helped her to come out of that trauma, and she started focusing on rebuilding her life again in a better way than ever before. Barbara Stanwyck, an iconic figure in the entertainment industry, was not only celebrated for her profound acting talent, but also had an impressive financial standing throughout her career. Her net worth in 2024 is a whopping $10 million. This places her well above her peers, with Joan Crawford at $2 million and Bette Davis at $1 million. Her financial success is truly notable. Over her prolific career, Barbara Stanwyck appeared in more than 80 films, showcasing her talent in a variety of roles that often highlighted strong female characters. In the early to mid-1940s, Barbara Stanwyck was the highest-paid actress in the world. According to a report put out by the federal government, in 1944, Barbara earned $400,000 and was one of the highest-paid women in the country overall. Earning $400,000 in 1944 is the same as making $6.5 million per year in today's dollars after adjusting for inflation. She also made a considerable amount of money through TV appearances and her own TV series like The Barbara Stanwyck Show and The Big Valley. Barbara Stanwyck owned several properties throughout her life, including a home in Brentwood, California, which she purchased in the 1950s. The home was put on the market for $14.9 million in 2011 and sold for $10.9 million. Barbara Stanwyck left a lasting impact on Hollywood, both as an actress and as a person. She was a feminist icon, known for playing strong and independent female characters, and stood up against abuse and injustice in the industry. In 1982, Stanwyck received an Honorary Academy Award for her contributions to the film industry. She has also been inducted into the American Theatre Hall of Fame and the Television Hall of Fame. Besides her Emmys, Stanwyck also received a Golden Globe and an honorary Oscar. These awards prove her lasting legacy and impact on film and TV for decades. Every award she won boosted her marketability and income. The honorary Oscar was especially significant. It celebrated her lifetime achievements and cemented her as a Hollywood legend.